This video is over Lesson 6.1, Properties of Rational Exponents and Radical Functions. Let's start with a few vocab words and a little definition of what we're going to be talking about when we talk about exponential form and radical form. So here we have on this first line, if b to the n equals a, then, so that's in exponential form. In radical form, we can actually write it as b. Oh, sorry, my stylus stopped working there. B is the square root, the nth root of A. So notice the power becomes the index, and we're taking the nth root of A. So we'll kind of use that in a little bit, but an nth root of A is written as this, where n is the index of the radical. So there's two notations for nth root, radical notation and rational exponent notation. So the radical notation, if it looked like this, then the rational exponent form is going to look like this. So the thing that we're taking the root of, that's going to be our base, our exponent over our index. So as an example, if you look at this first example, the fifth root of x squared, our base is what we're taking the root of, our power goes on top, our index goes on bottom, so x to the 2/5 power. If we're going the opposite way, we draw our radical sign. Since 8 is the base, that's going to be what we're taking the index of, or the root of. Our index is the bottom number, so 3. That's our tiny number out here. That tells us what root we're taking. And then notice the exponent is 1. And as you know, we typically don't write exponents of 1. We just don't have to. So let's go ahead and convert these into rational exponent notation. So starting with example 1, we take our base, exponent over index. Pause it, try the next 3, and then check yourself. Okay, b, base, exponent over index, base, exponent, in this case there isn't 1, that means it's 1 over index, base, exponent over index, and then notice my fraction on this one can actually be simplified. 8/4 is the same as 2. Always simplify when you can. Example 2, we're rewriting these into radical notation, so this time we're going the opposite way. So when you're rewriting in radical notation, draw your radical, put the thing that you're taking the root of, our bottom numbers are index, and then I put the whole thing in parentheses, raised to the exponent. We don't have to write it like that. There's multiple ways to write it, as you can see in our original table, but this is the way I like to write it. Do our root. We're taking the root of 7. It's an index of 2, so we actually don't write the index of 2. That's a square root. It's implied. And an exponent of 1, so we actually don't write the exponent of 1 either. That's also implied. So the square root of 7 would be equal to 7 to the 1/2 power. So C, we're taking the root of 18. Our index is 9, and it's being raised to the 4th power. And then D is similar to B, so we've taken the root of 9, it's an index of 4, and we don't write an exponent of 1, so we would just leave it as is. Okay, so on this next section, this is a calculator problem, and so I'm going to tell you the answers, and I'm going to tell you how to get the calculator keystrokes, but it depends on what calculator you're using. So if you're not sure, or if this seems to be different than the calculator you're using, feel free to talk to somebody and get some help with that. Okay, so on A, you're going to do 9 caret. Now look at your calculator screen. If it moves it up into an exponent, so if you have something that kind of looks like this on your calculator and the box will be blinking, then you can just type in 1 divided by 5. If it looks like, so if that box isn't there and it looks like this, then you have to put it in parentheses. So it'd be 9 caret, that's what that symbol is called, 1 divided by 5 in parentheses. So you could do it like that just to be safe, even if your calculator is raising it to a power. B, you're going to type it in, that's going to equal 1.55. We're rounding it to the nearest hundredth. So B, we're going to type in parentheses, negative 125, parentheses, caret, and then once again optional on whether or not you need parentheses, 2 divided by 3. And I really should be using this approximate equal sign. That means it almost equals, it's close to But this one actually is exact, so we'll use the actual equal sign, 25. On C, you're going to do 5, the index. And if you're on the yellow calculator, you're going to do math 5. And that's going to create, it shouldn't create something that looks like this. Actually, that 5 is already there, sorry. I drew my box in the wrong place. Should create something that looks like this. And then you're just going to type in 32. Now, depending on what calculator you're using, that button 5 Math 5 might not work. If you're on one of the blue TI 30s, in fact, you have to do 5 and then seconds and then so 5-second caret, and that's going to create, it's going to make something that looks like this. 5, it's going to look like that on your screen, and then you're going to type in 32 and then hit enter. And this one should equal 2 after all is said and done. I know it's kind of confusing doing this on video, so talk to somebody if you need more help with that. Okay, on D, we're going to do parentheses, 3 math 5 on the yellows, or 3-second caret, -2. And then on the yellow calculators, you actually have to hit the right arrow button. And on the blue calculators, I think you have to do the same thing. Or actually on the blue calculators, you would want to put a parentheses before the -2. So it really just depends on the calculator. Once again, I apologize. I know that's kind of confusing. So we'll go with just the yellows for now. You would do parentheses 3, math 5, -2, close parentheses, caret 4 on the yellows. On the blue calculator, you would want to do 3-second caret, parentheses, -2, close parentheses, caret 4. So we can practice this more together if you need. And you should get 2.52 when it's all said and done there. Alright, so that is it for part 1. So go ahead and try on the next page. There's just like 12 questions. Go ahead and try those, and then we'll move on to part 2.